Namaste, Jai Hind, and we are joined by Union Minister Hardeep Singh Puri, who was present there at the rampart of the Red Fort as Prime Minister Narendra Modi made his address on the occasion of India turning 76 and into its 77th Independence Day. Namaste and Jai Hind, Hardeep Puri ji. Your first takeaway from the Prime Minister's speech today.
First of all, I convey my heartiest greetings to you, Anandji, on Independence Day, and through you to your viewers. Let me say that I've had the privilege of being present at the Red Fort, not only on the occasions that I've been part of the Council of Ministers, but earlier as a civil servant, even earlier as a private citizen, when I was a student in school. I have attended many such. But today's speech stands out for a variety of reasons. First of all, I have seldom come across such an inspirational recalling of our history, the challenges we faced, Gulami, the mistakes some of us made, and entire generations paid the price for those mistakes, and the confidence with which we are dealing with ourselves and dealing with issues which will determine our destiny for the next 1,000 years. I'll reduce the time span. In 2014, the Honorable Prime Minister inherited a situation. I'm using the word situation in a broader sense. An economy, a polity. After 30 years or so, a single party was able to get a majority on its own. Those fractured verdicts are a thing of the past. Between 2014 and 19, that improved. And we moved from 2014 to 2023 from being the 10th largest economy in the world to the 5th largest. And today the Prime Minister, based on his preparations, his understanding of the ground reality, and the manner in which he has prepared the country to that we are moving confidently in the next year or two to being the 3rd largest economy in the world. But that's only part of the story. You will be one of the 3 large economies in the world, but heading forward, when we are 100 years old as a nation, he's talking about being a developed country. And he talks about Viksit Desh as a sankalp. But there are rating agencies who say India's economy by 2040 should be around $26 trillion. You know what that means in terms of per capita income, what it means in terms of all-side growth. But today there's some fantastic takeaways, because you started taking 2 crore women to be made lakhpatis.
Yeah.
It's not a small number. I'm told that he used the term Mahila 47 times. And if you look at all our central schemes, they are all anchored in that kind of faith and commitment to women emancipation and empowerment. Shauchalayas, building toilets, 13 or 14 crores, they give support and lend dignity to the girl child. Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana, the Malikana Haq is in the name of the lady of the house. Then when you provide gas cylinders to 9 crore 60 lakh people under the Ujjwala scheme, what does it mean? You are delivering them from the kerosene toxicity, from the coal, from all those noxious gases. Today, he is talking about economic empowerment. If 2 crore women are going to become lakhpatis, many of them may already be. By the way, I am a great fan of women entrepreneurs, and I've seen what they've done. I see it in the family. These are successful women in the world of business, finance, in your world of journalism. Now, why is this important? Because by any reckoning, women are about 50% of our population or thereabouts. So when he did triple talaq, it's not just, don't take it out of context. It's a very powerful message to that community as well. Then he goes a step further. What is he talking about? He is talking about ensuring that the fruits of economic development, Sarvodaya se Antyodaya, they will reach the farthest point, that is those who are most needy. And that is, I think, the real story of India. The story of India, we usually use cliched, Dushit, Vanchit, OBC. No, today, irrespective of caste, creed, irrespective of which region you come from, the benefits of these development schemes are going down to the, those who need them most. I tell you, I attended a program some years ago, I think it was in May, when, Ayushman cards were being distributed. And Anand, I can tell you, I was not surprised that most of the people, maybe that was a lot, who were coming to claim the Ayushman cards were members of one minority community. And that, I think, speaks volumes. That you can be a beneficiary, you are entitled to the benefits of the Prime Minister scheme, irrespective of who you are in the country. But if you have short-sighted politicians who will not implement the scheme, like Ayushman Bharat is not implemented in Delhi, then, political decision is taking you out of the system of reckoning. Today also, there are many other takeaways from the speech. I was very, very struck by, I can tell you this thing. The confidence with which he uses the word guarantee. But this is very interesting because he says, he's not saying, I dreamt it last night. No. He's saying, I have done my homework. I have studied the situation. I prepared the situation. He says, I am going to make credit through interest subvention available to people. Look at the millions of people who are coming out of poverty and joining the ranks of the middle class. Yeah. You have already a large middle class, but you haven't going to have an even larger and more economically powerful middle class. And he said, I'll make it easier for them to acquire affordable housing. Now, this is over and above the Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana. I used to have in our Pradhan Mantri Awas Yojana something called CLSS, Credit Linked Subsidy Scheme. Today, what the Prime Minister announced, we'll flesh it out. So, whenever the Prime Minister says something, he's done his homework. 2 years ago, he talked about green hydrogen. It was followed quickly by a cabinet decision on the PLI scheme being applicable to electrolyzer manufacturers, another cabinet decision on the distribution of work between ministries, how it will affect the steel sector, the refinery. So, the Prime Minister, when he uses words like guarantee, it shows he's done his full homework. He's been fully briefed and he says, okay, here is the political direction for us to implement this now. And so far, whatever he has said, he has demonstrated. When he has said something, he has implemented it. And that's what makes for a very high credibility quotient.
But Hardeep, if I may ask you, a few days ago, not so long ago, a very senior politician from the Congress party, very senior, used the word Rakshas and joined adage with all those who voted for the BJP or who are voters of the BJP. And today the Prime Minister used the word Rakshas and attached it to the word Bhrashtachar. So was that a message there?
Well, I don't know if there's a linkage. I know that senior politician that you are referring to, you are a very mature journalist, so you are always happy to give the title of seniority. I'm glad you didn't say respected, but yes, senior politician who used the word Rakshas. But to all those who support the BJP, tell him that I have something like, if I'm not mistaken, 22 crore members of the BJP, 22.9 crore, I'm being corrected as we speak. So if we are all demons, then I must say, I know of a lot of nice demons also, but this is absolutely crass. It's nonsensical for him to describe anybody as a demon. I don't like some of their parties, but I never use adjective. But the use of that term to characterize corruption, I think is too mild a term. I think the Prime Minister was restrained when he said Bhrashtachar is described like that. I think the worst thing that can happen to a country, and you've seen entire countries getting ruined. I say some countries, some continents where there are more countries like that, entire people getting wiped out because of corruption. Because corruption is a multifaceted dragon or a demon. Why? What do? They don't allow hard work to be compensated. They don't allow the honest earnings to be rewarded. They siphon off money. The decision making gets flawed. Matches get fixed. That is what corruption is. So to call it a Rakshas, I mean, I don't know what the message may have been, but it is worse than a Rakshas. I think it's a bane of a country. And so is Parivarvad, and so is Tushtikaran or appeasement. So I think those three taken together, corruption, entrenched corruption, Parivarvad, and appeasement. But let me tell you, all of this applies to a certain phase in our evolving polity and to some people. Tell me, since 2014, can you even mention one case where the Modi government or its executive, its senior ministers or anyone, there may be corruption outside, but we crack down on it. But compare that to the vocabulary and the acronyms which were being used in a period prior to this, which was characterized by policy paralysis, corruption, 2G, CWG, coal, God knows. And today, so many years later, coal scam, I find people getting locked up. Listen, that was a different era. Banking used to be conducted through the telephone system. I mean, I'm being facetious. What I mean is, people are saying, "Arey, usko de do 50 crore ka loan, usko ye kar do." I mean, have you heard of it today? I mean, today, more and more stuff is being taken outside the human interface. It's being done online. All right, somebody will try to fiddle with it, but it's a sea change, complete change. So therefore, I'm afraid those who were the beneficiaries of that erstwhile system of entrenched corruption, they're going to scream a little today. Somebody's eye will not be well. They will not show up at the Red Fort. But give them that due. They won't let let Parliament work. But we will also take that message to the people that these are the guys you elected and see how they have represented you.
Mantri ji, if I may ask you, he said, "अगले साल मैं आऊंगा, फिर आपको संबोधित करूंगा और अपने vision से अवगत कराऊंगा." So something to that extent that I will tell you what my vision, ambitions are. So that means he's saying I'm going to come back. But is that confidence? Is that overconfidence, or is that arrogance?
No, there's no arrogance and there is no overconfidence in that. Anandji, here is a Prime Minister who, unlike any other Prime Minister that this country had, came with solid hands-on experience of running a large state. Here is a Prime Minister who is the byproduct or is the product of a society where from the time of his early youth, he has valued the hard work, who has come up that way, who has been a pracharak, who has traveled the length and breadth of this country, who knows it by experience. And when he says, we have come from being the 10th largest economy to the 5th largest, and in my third term, we will become among the top 3 economies in the world. There's no arrogance here. He's merely collating where we came from, his understanding and his preparation for the phase to come. And on that basis, he can say with confidence and humility that I will give you my program for the year ahead. That is a true people's Prime Minister. And he's able to do it because he understands the grassroots level and the complexities of this country. Whereas I'm afraid some of the others who try to walk through the lengths and breadths of the country, they're still missing from the absolute what's happening on the ground level.
But Hardeep ji, I must ask you this, Hardeep ji, that when he says Parivarvad, Bhrashtachar and Tushtikaran, wasn't this the narrative in 10 years ago, in 2014? उस वक्त ये narrative against those who are in government था. आज ये narrative those who are in opposition है. तो बदला क्या है?
नहीं, काफी कुछ बदला है. मैं जी 10 साल पहले जब परिवारवाद की बात होती थी, तो परिवार और द डायनेस्टी वाज देन इन कंट्रोल ऑफ द लीवर्स ऑफ पावर. You understand? Let me tell you something. It's very simple. It's not Jawaharlal Nehru, Indira Gandhi ji, Rajiv Gandhi ji. Even when they were not prime minister, they were controlling the levers of power. I mean, I can tell you there was a phase in between when we had a prime minister who was beginning to settle down, but there was some problem about 2 policemen outside his house or something, and the government fell. All right. There was an issue of, you talk about cooperative federalism. I mean, how many times has Article 356 been used? And who are the prime users of 356? Number one. Today we are talking about Parivarvad in the context of some people who have not allowed internal democracy in their own parties. Look, there's a certain degree of control, all right. But today they are not in power, but they are, those kinds of people are trying to come together with 1 or 2 exceptions. I've asked Mr. Kejriwal this. मैंने कहा आप भी तो परिवारवाद के खिलाफ हो. He said हमारे तो संविधान में लिखा हुआ है कि हम परिवारवाद के खिलाफ है. Then I didn't ask him then why are you, Samajwadi Party is totally Parivarvad. Akali Dal, of course, they are not part of them. Then Congress Party is Parivarvad. I don't want to go into other areas, but you know them as well as I do. Now somebody will say कि आपके यहाँ भी, अरे भाई हमारे यहाँ भी होंगे किसी लायक बाप का बेटा या पोता भी politically काबिलियत दिखा सकता है. That's not परिवारवाद. I mean, just because, I mean, I so happened that neither of my daughters wanted to be either a foreign service officer or a politician. They, that's a different thing. But that's not Parivarvad. I mean, if your son Anand or your daughter decides to become a journalist, there's nothing wrong there. Or if you are a politician, but here talking about the levers of control in a political party, not going outside the family, where you place the interests of the family before you place the interests of the nation. That is the cutting edge.
But Hardeep, one last question, if with your kind permission. He did speak about Manipur, and he said that what has happened in Manipur, it resounds across the country, and women across the country should be protected. He also said Manipur mein abhi shanti kaayam hai. One of the immediate reactions that's come from the opposition, especially the Congress, is that agar Manipur mein itni shanti hai, to aap kyun nahi ja rahe? How would you respond?
देखिए, this discussion should be held in its entirety. He said 2 very important things. He said in Manipur, as indeed in some other parts of the country, there have been instances of violence. And he said, I want to tell you, the whole country is with the people of Manipur and jo hamari, bahne hai, etc. That was one political message. Secondly, he also said that necessary actions which have taken. Look, the opposition has run away from a discussion on Manipur. The Honorable Home Minister offered on the first day of the last session of the Parliament that he was ready to engage. They kept into this, हमें इसमें चाहिए, हमें उसमें चाहिए, हमें ये नहीं चाहिए, प्रधानमंत्री को आना चाहिए. By Home Minister spent 3 days in Manipur. His Minister of State, I think Nityanand Rai ji, spent 23 days in Manipur. Home Minister has done, but ye kya kar rahe? They don't want a discussion of Manipur in Parliament. What they want to do is go and do political tourism there. Kuch logon se mile, hello karke, etc. Come and give a statement. People didn't take them seriously. Look, Manipur is a complicated problem. It has a legacy. There was a time when a Congress government led by Mrs. Gandhi subjected the people of Manipur to aerial action. There is an ethnic issue there. There is a issue of infiltration there, of infiltration of people and arms there. There are drug-related issues there. And there was something which the courts did. So, we are ready for a discussion. And I think the Honorable Home Minister said so, and he gave a beautiful reply. So did the Prime Minister. But they don't want to engage. When the Prime Minister is talking about Manipur, they will not be present in the House. And then let's say, too little, too late. These are delinquent undergraduate students. Engage in a debate, you might learn something. And we might also be able to tell you how this is actually a creation of your acts of omission and commission for the time that you were in power.
Point well made, Hardeep Puri ji. Thank you very much for speaking with us. Always a pleasure speaking with you. Happy Independence Day. Jai Hind, Jai Bharat.
Thank you, Anand ji. Always a pleasure speaking to you. Jai Bharat, Jai Hind. Thank you very much.
That was Union Minister Hardeep Puri, never holding back, never pulling any punches. We're going to take a very, very short break. Stay with us here on CNN News 18.